Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Tea and Crystals podcast. I am T.
And I am Kristal.
Ladies and gentlemen, as always, we are so happy to have you all back with us for another episode of this here podcast. Now, we got a lot of stuff to get into today, and I am so excited. We got some stories for y'all. Kristal got some stuff for me. I got some stuff for Kristal, and we have not told each other anything, y'all. We just hopped right on in this thing, and we are going to share it live. So these reactions are going to be real. But before we get into all of that, y'all know how I got to start the show. Kristal, how are you, my friend?
It has been a week for me. It has been a week. I'll say that. First of all, I took some pictures for my friend Aaron's birthday party a couple weeks ago, and I am notorious for taking forever to edit because it's just not something I particularly love doing. And there's something about it, like when I first start, I'll like get into it and then I can't ever finish them in a day. So inevitably I have to stop at some point. And once I do that, then it's over. It's downhill. It's like after that, I'm like, I have to force myself. And I was really proud of myself because I had gotten the majority of her photos like edited within a couple of days. So I was like, oh, that's fine. I'll like, I'll give it to her this weekend. And so it would only be like a week since the event. It's going on week 2. And, but in my defense, Adobe's Photoshop, I don't know what happened to it because I was at work. Like I brought my laptop to work so that I could work on some photos in any spare time that I had. And I had finished a photo there and I just needed to put it in Photoshop to like do some little touches. And I brought it home and my Photoshop was done. And I wasn't until earlier this week that my mom was able to kind of figure out that I had to download I had to take something off that I had downloaded. And that would make my Photoshop work. But it took a long time to figure it out. So I'm down to like the last like 2 or 3 photos. So hopefully that will be good. And then for work,
come on with it.
Timmy.
Come on with it.
The thing about an indie film, for anyone who has maybe worked on something like that, is that you're wearing a lot of hats. But one thing is true is that the structure of it for the most part is the same. The thing is that when you're dealing with low budget films, a lot of time there are people in positions who they don't have the experience to get them in a higher budget. This is how they're building their resume, so they're new as well in their positions. And there's just some people in those higher positions that you can just tell have never been in that entry level, or they weren't in it for long at all.
Okay.
And I don't know, this film in particular, they partnered with a local like arts academy. I don't know if it's a high school version or not, but in order to hire some of the PAs that we have, to give them experience and stuff like that. So they're very, very green. Very new to the industry. They don't really know. They're learning on the job, it's a great place for them to learn. It's the best place for them. But unfortunately, when you're learning on the job as someone who knows this personally, because I went through this too when I was learning, is that you don't know the structure of things, and you take whatever is given to you. Like, when people are rude to you or disrespectful, like you just take it because you think to yourself, oh, well, this is how it has to be. Like, I have to be spoken this way or something. You justify it. But unfortunately, depending on the look of it, some of us aren't new. And some of us have been on film sets and have been in this industry for a few years. And we know how it's supposed to be run. But more or less, we had some higher ups that have been a little too busy paying attention to what we're doing when we shouldn't even be on the radar, to be perfectly honest. And so at the beginning of the filming, like I'd hear a tone, or we'd get a text and I'd kind of look at it sideways, like that's not your place really. Like there's other people you should be going to about this stuff, but whatever. But I want to say, so the first 2 weeks was fine, but then the third week, I don't know what happened, but like these two people were on something. Like they just started every morning. One of them in particular was going in, and I'll call her Alice. And I
Mhm.
feel we'll call her Alice and we'll call her Mary. And Mary is to me the
Okay.
like ringleader. Like she's the
Mhm.
one where it, you try to talk to her tone of voice, like everything about her is a bad vibe, like a bad taste in my mouth.
Mm.
Whereas Alice, if you get her by herself, she's for the most part okay. Like you can talk to her, she's approachable. But when she gets around Mary, she takes on those characteristics. And so Alice will be the
Mm.
one who will send us a bombard of text messages in the morning. And what annoys me particularly is that it's nothing useful. It's all stuff we already know. It's all stuff that we're already doing or trying to do or will be doing. But it's like they just think it needs to be done at the drop of a hat. And
Micromanager.
yeah, and they think that we're taking too long. And it might be true on a regular set with all the departments you need to have, you might have gotten this a lot quicker. But you have one group who's wearing 5 different hats. Like you're not going to get something at
Mhm.
the drop of a hat. It's going to take a minute, and we have to prioritize things over other things. Now maybe we not may not prioritize the right thing first, because there's most of the PAs are brand new. They don't know what to prioritize, and the ones who aren't new, we can only pay attention to things so much. Like our attention is split so many ways. But it was starting to get to head this last week. We had one day where Mary was just very rude and very disrespectful, just snapping the way she was saying things. I mean, we were setting up a tent, and it takes four of us to put everything together. I mean, yeah, you can do it with less people, but for the most part, we're not in a rush at this point. So we're putting up this tent, and one of the interns that we have, she saw that some of the straps needed to be clipped together, so she ducked under and started strapping the top of it. And before, we had barely clicked everything into place when Mary was like, "Okay, but so like, can you go get the second tent? I mean, it doesn't take 5 of you to put a tent up." The way
Oh.
I whipped my head and looked at her, it was already on the tip of my tongue to be like, "Excuse me?"
Because
But
I
I
wouldn't have
I
hesitated.
I chalked I was able to get the words back in. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
and I turned around. I was like, "You know what? Let me not get married together."
Mm-hmm.
Um and then the tent was already, mind you, the tent was already on the way. There was someone else on our team that was already getting it. So they bring it over and we set it up. And again, barely clicked it into place. And suddenly she's kind of rushing over to the first tent, like, "Okay, are you guys going to help me move? Why would you put this over here? The stuff is over here." Mind you, we put it there because that's what the first AD told us on the walkie to put it. But we also understood that literally right next to it is where the actual stuff is, and that we were probably going to move the tent over it. But we don't put it over it and then
The,
set the tent up.
right. You got to set the
You
tent up
gotta,
and then.
when I say people really show that they've never done this stuff.
Because, girl, that's common
So
sense.
when she
You
did
too
that,
busy thinking about being in charge and not
mhm,
thinking enough about what is actually happening right
happening.
now. Like,
So she said that, and I immediately turned and walked away. I was like, "There's enough of them over there. They can help her," because I'm about to go off on Mary. And
mm,
then towards the end of the week, the last thing that happened with Alice was I our catering is okay. It's not the best,
mm,
but for the most part, I've been able to get through it. But there was one day in particular where there was literally nothing on the menu that I liked other than a baked potato. And I'm sorry, but we already get very little for breakfast. So when lunchtime comes around, it is the last meal of the day for us, or for me,
mm.
because by the time I go home, it's nighttime and I need to just go straight to bed. I can't have another meal. So I can't live off of just a baked potato. I'm lugging things around. It's hot. I'm Who
Yeah.
can? You need energy. You need energy to
Mm-hmm.
get, we're on set 14 to 18 hours a day, sometimes depending. So you need energy. So this particularly, I was like, you know what? I was like, I don't like anything on this menu. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Well, one of the actors, they have a dietary restriction that isn't always they don't always like what catering provides for them. So they will sometimes get a meal delivered to them from offsite, or our we will pick up her meal. So I was looking over what she was getting, and it was just like a sandwich and salad place. And I was like, well, they were like, well, yeah, one of the, Alice is the one who usually picks it up. Why don't you call them and say, ask them if you can pick it up, and then you can just grab yourself something. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll do that. So I called up Alice and let her know. I was like, and this is where I fucked up. I told her the truth. I was like, hey, is it okay if I pick up, so and so's meal today? I was like, I'm not really feeling what's on the menu today. And so I just want to be able to grab myself something on the way as well. And she was like, oh, well, what's your dietary restriction? I was like, it's not a dietary restriction. There's literally nothing on the menu I like today. I was like, so I can pick up so and so's meal and just grab myself something at the same time. And she was like, oh, well, you can just send it to me. She was like, I'll pick it up because I'm the one who always picks up this person's meal anyways. So it's fine. You can just send it to me. I was like, oh, are you sure? She was like, yeah. She was like, just send it to me and I'll get it for you. I was like, thank you. That's really nice of you. I should have known.
Oh, girl.
Because not even, I want to say it was like 6 or 7 minutes, like a good amount of time had passed. And then I get a text message from them and they were like, oh, and by the way, this is just a one-time courtesy because it's not fair to the other PAs and you're going to have to come to base camp to pick it up.
Now, who is they? You said they said it.
Alice said that.
Alice texts you
back
after y'all got off the...
Mm-hmm. She waited like a good 6 or 7 minutes. Like she waited a while. And then texted me that. And I was immediately like, I don't want this damn sandwich anymore.
Girl. Fuck that sandwich. Fuck. Woo, Kristal.
Like they really acted like I'm that person who's like every day is like, I don't like what this is. I want something delivered to me. This was out of the 22-day shoot. This is one day where I was like, I really don't like what's on the menu. I prefer, and I offered to go get this person's meal and just get, like, it's not like I just was getting myself something and nothing else, And I offered my fellow PAs if they wanted anything too. And they were all like, no, we can deal with what's on the menu. And I was just like, cool. So yeah, it was, what ended up happening was she was like, well, they don't have the sandwich that you wanted. It's just a grab and go. I was like, it's good. Thank you. Thank you so much. Don't worry about it. And then they were like, well, you can go out and grab something. I was like, yep, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, girl, because I was going to do that anyway.
Right.
Yeah. At this point, y'all playing in my face.
Yeah.
Because it was like I can't eat. So yeah. I'm just going to go do my thing and y'all be lucky if I come back on this motherfucker today. Because Kristal, like my knee is shaking. I am so mad for you. I am so mad. Like, girl, I wish I was there. Oh, I wish I was there because you know how I get down, especially when I feel like you fucking with people for something that is so unnecessary. Like, especially around like food things, like basic things, shelter, food, water. Is something y'all can play with me about that. And I'll take it all day. Cause baby, I'm gonna get the last laugh. But when it comes to other people, and especially when them other people are acting in good faith, and you come at them about something that's a necessity, it's just one of my buttons. It's one of my buttons. I don't care what the consequences are. It would just be my last day on set. Because what you not gonna do, she would have I would have called her back so fast after that text message and be like, where are you right now? Okay, yeah, I need to have a word with you in person really fast. I'm so sorry. And as soon as I got there, it would have been up and stuck. Yeah. It would have been up and stuck. How dare you? Yeah. A one-time courtesy, bitch, don't worry about it. Right. You're not doing me no favors, girl. Don't worry about it. I got my keys. I'm going to be back in about a half an hour.
Right. And of course it was going to be a one-time courtesy. We wrap in 4 days. It's not like it wasn't going to be a regular thing anyways. Whatever.
Why
I
would you
mean,
not even give me the benefit of the doubt? Why are you
right.
acting like, bitch, we've been on this set for 3 weeks and it's the first time that I'm
Mhm.
asking you to do, and I said I would go do it.
Right.
You the one who said, don't worry about it. I'll get it for you. Why would
Yeah.
you make that offer if you don't really want to do it?
Yeah. It very much made me feel like, oh, like after we got off the phone and then she sent that message, it went from, them being like, okay, there's someone on set who doesn't like, you know, we're recognizing that we're going to deal with it, to you're just a PA and you're expecting way too much. You're
Right, right.
you're not at the level where you can expect.
That's what pisses me off.
Mhm.
Bitch, I don't care if it's the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. Bitch, everybody got to eat.
Mhm.
We got to eat.
Yeah.
And I don't like nothing that y'all serving, and I'm not gonna force myself to eat that shit. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, girl. I want me a sandwich.
Especially because oftentimes we are limited to what we can have, because he only
Mm.
makes a certain amount, because it's a smaller crew. He only makes a certain amount. So there are so many times where it's like he'll have like chicken and steak. You can't have both. You can only have one or the other,
Mm.
because he's like, I don't know, I don't know if I have enough. So even if I wanted to live off the baked
So,
potato, I can't even guarantee that I would have had more than one baked potato.
so y'all not only telling me pretty much, this the one time we finna do this shit for you, girl. Don't get too comfortable. But the food that y'all are serving me is of limited quantity.
Yes.
And I'm limited to how much of it I can have on top of that.
Yeah.
Y'all not making enough food for people to have one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're making me choose one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, I hope this shit find their way to them. And I want you motherfuckers to know that I hope this film fail. I do. I hope you make negative $600,000 on this film. I don't know what your budget is, bitch, but I hope it puts you in the hole.
I was about to say, well, I
Okay,
don't.
what? Not the film people.
Okay, I was about to say, because Melody, the director,
That
is really
bitch.
nice, but the.
Shout out to you, girl. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry. I hope your film fails. I'm sorry. It's the company you keep. It's the company you keep.
Yeah.
And that lady is, I don't know what she looked like. I don't know nothing about this lady. And let me be nice. Let me be nice. They didn't really piss me off.
Oh,
They didn't
trust
really
me.
piss me off.
Yes. I think someone finally said something about their involvement, overall involvement,
Mm.
because like the last day in particular, last 2 days maybe, we weren't feeling it like we were, like they weren't bombarding our text messages. I think someone finally let them know, like, hey, it's not you guys that say something to them. There's a chain of command. Like you tell, this person, and they'll relay to the appropriate
Because
parties.
what it sounded like to me is y'all don't have enough to do. You're trying to find something to do to make yourself useful on this set when y'all could just go home. Y'all don't have to be. Who are they? Who are they in the chain of command anyway? Are they some type of executive producer, some type of associate producer? Who
They're
are they?
producers. They're not. I don't know if they're considered executive.
Well, then, girl, get the fuck out of my face. Like, what do you do? She would have got a talking to me after the tent situation. It wouldn't have got as far as the food situation for me, because that's again another case. And these kids doing the best that they can. You know they're not experienced.
No.
And you over here making trouble for no reason. Soon as she would have snapped that one time. Excuse me, Alex, come here. Can I talk to you for a second? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The way that you are about to get cussed out by a good number of these people over here on the set, I
Mm-hmm.
suggest you find that trailer, you find that office, you go sit down, you go fold
Mm-hmm.
you some origami or something, girl. Find something to do in that
Yeah.
office and get up out our way. We got this.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about it, because the way you talking to us is not gonna cut it. It's
Yeah.
not gonna cut it.
I did have to tell, like, I had to pull the other PAs aside to let them know, like, hey, this isn't the regular. It's not okay how they're speaking to us, because a lot of them were seeing it and were feeling some type
Mm.
of way, and they were telling me about it. There was a couple who were like, they very much like I thought. They were like, oh, well, I mean, I didn't think it was bad the way they were speaking, and I'm like, you deserve better. Like,
This is
you
not
don't
the
have
standard.
to be spoken to like that way. Like, and they're just
Right.
like, oh. And then to hear other crew members in different departments be like, oh yeah, my experience with them have been bad too. Like, this is what we've been
Mm.
going through. This is what happened with us. So it was nice to know, because I always wonder sometimes when I'm in conflict or I feel like a conflict is arising, if it's me. Like, is it just me? Am
Mm.
I imagining it? So when I hear other people are also experiencing these things, I'm like, okay, it can't just be me, obviously. Like,
Right.
Alice and Mary are not, they don't have a lot of friends on the set.
Alice and
Um
Mary, y'all on my shit list for the rest
yeah.
of life. Not
So
Mary. I don't. You ain't say too much about Mary.
no,
Mary, she
Mary
ain't give
Mary
me.
is Mary is the culprit. Alice is the
She's
one
the one that's
that,
setting the tone.
yes, if the few
Mm.
times that I've seen Alice without Mary, Alice seems nice enough. I feel like her personality would be different. I don't even know if after we got off the phone, she then messaged Mary, and Mary was like,
Mm.
"Oh no, you need to say
Okay.
this," because it was
So
a
you
good
you think it's
while.
funneling through
I
Alice?
feel like it, just because it was a little while after I sent my order that she
Mm.
sent that text. She just suddenly sent that text.
Girl, let's get into these stories
Okay.
because
Let's get into someone else's drama.
yeah, I can't say all the mean things that I really want to say on this here platform because I have some horrible things today, and you know what? This is too much karma. I
Yeah.
can't I can't risk all that coming going out there to come back to me. But I have some really mean things I want to say.
Oh, I
You
trust.
ready to get into these stories?
Yes.
All right, my first story comes to us from Reddit, of course, in the subreddit r/relationship advice. My new favorite subreddit, bitch. Like, I be going in there just on my off time, and I don't never do that. But this shit be too juicy. I be like, oh my God. Like, y'all going through it out here. So this one is entitled, During our vacation in Vegas, I woke up at 2 a.m. to find my husband missing, his location off, and thousands in charges from a strip club on our bank account.
Oh
Where to go from here?
no. Absolutely not. He did that with you in the room. I
Bitch,
can't imagine what he does by
can you,
himself.
girl? Oh, wait until we get into the details.
Okay.
Wait until we get to. Okay. So she says, my husband and I booked a last minute getaway to Vegas for a couple's night. We arrived yesterday. We had tickets to see a show last night, but after a long day of drinking in the heat, I wasn't feeling well and needed to end the night early. Relatable content. I encouraged my husband to still go out so he can enjoy his evening, so he did, and I went to sleep. 2 a.m. rolls around, and I wake up to find that he never came home to the room. Oh my God. The show is literally at our hotel, so I started panic. I go to check his location. It's off. Then I text him asking where he was. He reads it and doesn't respond. I call him several times and he sends me the voicemail. While I was trying to get a hold of him, girl, you are as gooped as I am. Like, while I was trying to get a hold of him, I see that there are two separate charges for $1,000 plus from a strip club. He didn't respond to me till nearly 3 a.m. and just texted that he was on his way back. 30 minutes later, he stumbles into the room absolutely obliterated. He tries to lie and said that he was just gambling down the strip and that he never went to the strip club, even though the charges were literally made with Apple Pay and he hadn't lost his phone. After going through his receipts, I found that he's been to the strip club for nearly 5 hours, essentially confirming that he went straight from the show and left 40 minutes after my first "Where are you?" text. I also checked all of our bank accounts uh, to see if all the charges had settled as they were. And if so, he'll have spent nearly $6,000 there. He swears he didn't cheat on me and says nothing sexually happened, though I can only imagine the situations you find yourself in after 5 hours in a strip club, especially when you're intoxicated beyond comprehension. I feel like I'll never truly know what happened and that and that I'm alone is the most painful part. We flew home a day early, and I just have no idea where to go from here. We've been together for 7 years, married for 4 in just a couple months. As far as I'm aware, we're in a great place in our marriage, and there hasn't been any issues with infidelity in the past. This is completely out of character. I'm absolutely crushed and deeply disappointed. He was reckless with our money, with my trust, with our marriage, and it really fucking hurts. The fact that we were on a solo trip together, and instead of coming back to me or doing literally anything else, he chose to go to a strip club. I would love any insight or advice from those who have gone through something similar with their partners. Thank you for reading, girl. You're welcome. Thank you for sharing.
Mm-mm.
Because the drama.
Separate.
Crystal, what you got?
Get rid of them. Separate. I'm not going to go straight to divorce, even though... But... he had moments where I would have been like, all right, she went home. She went to bed early. You don't want your night to be ruined. Cool.
Right.
But your first instinct when you're on this couple's trip and your wife doesn't feel good and has to end the night early, your first instinct is strip club. I'm going to the strip club. Not the gambling tables, not to try to, play the slots, have some fun in Vegas. No, you're like, I'm going to the strip club.
Strip club.
And you got obliterated. You had no self-control. No self-control. You wasted all that money. It doesn't matter if you didn't do anything with, which I find hard to believe in Vegas, that you didn't do anything.
For 5 hours?
For 5 hours and a couple
$6,000?
Sir?
Like, was you spending $8,000 on each one of the girls on the stage? Like, what is going on?
Yeah. So I don't believe that. That's why I'm saying, girl, consequences has to happen.
Wait a minute.
You need to separate or possibly divorce if he can't show any remorse about it.
Do the girls in the strip, now I ain't never been to the strip club. That ain't part of my ministry. Mm-hmm. But do the strip club girls nowadays, because I know it used to be cash, but she said he paid with Apple Pay. So does that mean that the girls are carrying around, what do they call them, squares? What's the mobile payment system?
Maybe.
Carrying around the little squares in their cleavage or in the crack.
I don't know about that, but maybe there's maybe it's like a pool or some sort.
Imagine, picture this. I'm going to put music under this. Stripping music. Picture this, setting the scene. It's 3 a.m. You're in the strip club. You just had a plate of fire ass lemon pepper wings. Diamond was just announced by the DJ. She comes onto the stage. She grabs the pole. You're wondering, damn, they don't have no ATMs in here. I'ma pay. She climbs to the top of that pole and she slides down just as sensual. Hits the bottom. Boom. Ass on the ground. Hits a split. Wide open coochie right in your face. It's a goddamn payment system. Right there, glued to the inside of her crotch. And all you got to do is click, click, beep. Convenience. This is the way of the future, Kristal. I am amazed. Actually, instead of being mad at your husband,
no, absolutely
you need to congratulate the ingenuity and the forethought of that strip club. That may be a place that y'all need to go together. They're the way of the future.
And you know what? It could have been a place they went together.
If he wasn't a fucking idiot.
If he wasn't an idiot. Because believe it or not, there are women who are down for that kind of entertainment.
You wouldn't believe it, but there are.
But there are. If you just tell, but that ruins the whole thing for a lot of these husbands. They want to pretend that they don't have a relationship responsibilities, that they could actually be with any of these ladies without having to pay.
Right. I'll tell you exactly what happened. He was expecting, they had been out there drinking because he was trying to get her good and drunk because he don't get in that thing as much as he used to. And he was expecting, as soon as they got back to their room, it was saying, pound town, hey. He thought it was going down. And then she got in their room and she got to having the spins. And she said, I need to lay down on this mattress. So he went out. He had a little funky attitude, but he was trying to understand because, we had been out all day and it's 112 degrees outside. He went to that bar. He got to drinking too much. And that thing got to Only thing he could do was go to the strip club. He can't go home because she laid up in the bed asleep.
Mm-mm.
That's roundaway sexual assault. So he said, well, let me go ahead to the strip club and get what I got to get. And he got a little bit too much. He got a little too close to the sun. So that's how I think it went down.
Hmm. Well, I just know that when you're inebriated, a lot of
Mm.
times how you really think and feel comes out because you don't
Mm.
have the capacity to keep those things in. So the fact that your wife texted you and you immediately were like, nah, whatever. And you still
Kristal
spent
knows.
another 40 minutes, 40
Still,
minutes there.
he was in the middle of
You didn't
something.
even panic. You weren't like, oh shit, my wife is awake. You're
No,
like, whatever.
he
Nah.
was in the middle of the deed. He was like, I can't
Mm-hmm.
stop now.
Can't stop now.
I literally cannot stop right now.
So yeah, at the very least, separate. You need
Yeah.
let him know this ain't it. I need
Mm-hmm.
time to myself. I need to go to my own strip club and do my own thing for 5 hours and spend $6,000.
Oh yeah,
And you
six
need to leave me
thousand
alone.
dollars, bitch. Can you believe? Hey, shout out to y'all for having a coin on.
I was about to
Because she
say
wasn't too bad. She wasn't too mad about the money.
right.
She was more mad about the principle of it all, which lets me know that y'all got something else in the bank. If you ever, ma'am. You know never mind. Moving on. Your story, Kristal. Before I get in trouble.
I was about to say our producer's going to be like canceled.
Right.
I'm going to have a new co-host next week.
Or
It's going to be a female-centered show.
getting to the money. Everybody mad. Listen.
All right, moving on. My story is from Am I the Asshole? And this is would I be the asshole if I told my wife's dead husband's parents to stop coming to see our daughter?
Okay. Well,
Okay. I will.
I need to know if it's biological daughter.
I was about to
and then
say,
can
I
know.
will say it is their child. It's not her and the
Ah.
ex-husband.
Okay.
So I have been married to my wife for about 2 years now, and we had our daughter a year ago. Now, my wife was married before. She got married pretty young, but her husband died. I knew all of this and have been just fine with it until now. See, she's still pretty close to her dead husband's parents, and they were excited for the birth of our child. FYI, they only had the one son, no other children at all. They have been coming over to our place about once a week. It was fine at first, but it's gotten kind of suffocating. They have visited us more times than either her parents or my parents. They have even stayed over our house at times, something I wouldn't even like even if they were my own parents. Another thing, they talk about their dead son a lot, which is usually fine, but they have made some comments that make me uncomfortable. They even said my daughter kind of looks like him, and his mom even said, oh, if she's this cute, imagine how cute your kids would have been if only, when talking to my wife. She was going to say more, but I think she realized what she was about to say, and I was right there. I want to be amicable, and I knew there was going to be some moments like this, but it's starting to make me feel uncomfortable.
Sorry, I didn't know that was the end of the story.
I know, it was really short. This was a short one.
Yeah.
I don't really know how to end it. Like, okay, the end.
Damn. Okay, that's a sticky wicket. That's a sticky wicket. Honestly, them folks got to start coming around your house. That's the end all be all. I get it. They are grieving their son in some way, somehow. This is holding them over. They need to get the grief counseling and really explore what type of attachment it is that they have to your wife and now y'all's child. That has them coming around so often. I wouldn't mind if they came around twice a year. You know what I'm saying? Come say, hey, you could be some bonus grandparents. If that's your only child, and this is the closest you get to y'all's lineage going on. I totally understand that. Wanting to be a part of that, and especially if your wife seems to be allowing it. It don't sound like she has too big of a problem with it. I understand that you're uncomfortable because you don't know that man. He was before you.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to make clear boundaries with these people. But I don't think it's necessarily to completely cut them off. I don't think I would cut them off if it was me. Um, just because I get it. Like
Mhm.
if that's the only family you got, and I would look at it as a bonus, bitch. That's less Christmas presents, less birthday presents I got to buy. Cause I'm expecting the bonus grandparents, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I would have my child call them grandma Gigi and grandpa Joe. I don't give a damn.
Right.
Long as you love my baby and you bring it now. You don't need to be staying at my house. I don't look. I tell my wife sometimes you got to get up out of here. You need to find something to do.
Mhm.
I don't need nobody in my home too long. So I get that. I get not wanting them to be in your house, but I honestly, I do think I don't think you an asshole because I get it, but at the same time, really take a step back and be like, what can I do to not necessarily compromise, but what is it really hurting with them being
Mhm.
here?
Yeah.
Just make sure you set them boundaries and be like, listen, lady, I get you love your son, but the casket talk is bringing the mood down. You killing the vibes, girl.
Yeah.
And don't be comparing, what coulda, woulda, shouldas
Mhm.
in my house.
Yeah.
We can come in here, we can fellowship, and we can have a great time together and build our own relationship outside of your immediate grief.
Yeah.
Um,
I agree. I mean, I'm the same way. I think there just needs to be boundaries that needs to be set. I don't think he's the asshole. But
no,
I also don't think like everyone sucks here. I think it's just, it's a dynamic that worked for a minute and now it's just needs to be altered because you have a new addition. It sounds like the from one of the comments I just saw, the wife says seems fine with it because she sees them as her own parents as well. Considering how young or the fact that she married young, I wonder if maybe these are people she grew up with. So, not all family is blood related. And for her, these people very much could be, non negotiable. They're her family,
mm-hmm.
regardless of any, non connection they actually have anymore.
Yep.
But boundaries are good. Let your wife know you're feeling uncomfortable. Ask her to speak to them. Maybe they can come around a little less, not talk so much, in comparison to their son. It's one thing to bring up moments with them, but when you're literally comparing us and we're right here, like that doesn't need to be happening.
No.
And, it's definitely something that can be worked out. It's definitely something that can, find a healthy medium. You just
Yep.
got to talk to your wife.
Just got
So
to talk to her. That's
talk
it.
to her. That's it.
Hey man, you ready to get into the next segment?
Yes.
Let's do it. So, y'all, I was away the past couple of days. Actually, I just got home yesterday. I'm still a little tired. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm a little tired. Um, but Crystal, I'm sure you'll be glad to hear I'll be home for a while. I'll be home
Oh,
for a
will
while.
you? Because it seems like for the past
Yep.
2 months, every weekend, he's just gone to a new country.
Girl, it's the
Must be
summertime. There was things
nice.
to do, places to go.
And you can do
And
that
everything has
easily.
been planned since like January, February, honestly. So
Yeah.
everything is just now coming around.
Honestly, I'm just
Um
jealous of all the traveling you get to do. Because
well, I mean, it's
if you want to travel here, you drive 6 hours and you're still in the same
in
damn
the
place.
state.
And
Yep.
it already costs you $150.
Right. And that's the thing because being in Europe, a lot of places that we've been going to, it's been a mix, but it's been a lot of music stuff, which to be fair, over the past 3 years, we haven't been able to do, because we got the
Yeah.
little one. So this is really us getting back outside
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
while, and try to enjoy the summer, especially after Corona and everything locked down. Like it was just time. All the artists are on tour and they're actually coming to
Mm-hmm.
Europe. So we're like,
Yeah,
we gotta go. Like, when else are we gonna get the chance,
for
right?
sure.
So over the weekend, we went to the festival All Points East in London. Now mind you, this is my first festival ever. And before we get into the story, I can tell you already it's gonna be my last. Okay. Festivals have never been part of my ministry. I've never been called to go to a festival. I just think of dirt. I think of humans. It's too much going on. And this is pre-COVID. I felt like this. It's just too much going on. It's too mixy. It's too much me and you. It's too much bumping. I have a hard time in the club because I be ready to fight because I don't like people touching me. They just be brushing up against you, and and I got my good clothes on, and y'all ruining my outfit. We will get there. So I have to tell Chris, I'm gonna give y'all a whole. I ain't gonna take too much of y'all time, but I need to give y'all a breakdown of everything that went um, on the concert, right? So we decide early on that the festival starts around 3 and it ends at 11. Already, I was like, that's really tight because they had a lot of artists. Mm-hmm. And it was really tight. And a lot of artists were performing on the same stage. So I was like, this is going to be like a quick turnaround. Mm-hmm. So I didn't expect it to be that many people for some reason. I thought it was going to be kind of a smaller space, more intimate kind of situation, like a smaller festival. I didn't expect it to be full scale. Well, girl, fuck me, because I was wrong. So it started, we was like, all right, we're going to go at I think we plan to get there around 5, about 2 hours after the doors open. Because we were like, we want to get that initial rush out the way so we can just ease on up in there, go find what we want to do. Because all the people that we wanted to see didn't perform until 6 and after anyway. Right? Oh, we get there. We pulling up. We took the bus there. Because fun. You get the double-decker bus experience, whatever. Bitch, it looked like World War Z. Like, it's just seas of human headed in the same direction. I'm like, wait, did everybody have the same idea? Like, everybody that performed from 3 to 6, didn't nobody give a shit about, obviously. Poor people. Because there won't nobody there. Because everybody got there at around 5. Anyway. So, we get there. Number one, when we got on the bus, we got on the wrong bus and got cussed out by the bus driver. Because it was the right number, but it was heading in the wrong direction. And we didn't know that. We just saw the number. So he didn't open the door for us. He was like, no. And so we went to the back door. We was like, okay, maybe we just couldn't come to that door, right? So we went to ask him, hey, is this the bus to go? Before we even got a syllable, and I told you, no, this is not the right direction. And I was like, bitch, how you know where I'm going? But my wife had a very obvious festival outfit on, so I was like, fair enough. Anyway, so we got cussed out. Finally got on the bus, got to the show. I knew it was finna be something because we in the line. People are like cutting in line, shoving, getting on my nerves. Because I'm like, y'all, we're all getting to the same place. It's a big ass open. It was in Victoria Park. Huge park. We get inside. First thing, what men that are listening to the show, when you get somewhere, what's the first thing your wife has to do? Pee. So we got to wait in line for the bathroom. The lines, of course, every woman in the festival has to pee as soon as she gets there. So we standing in line and we moving. It's moving at a glacial pace. My wife is standing directly in front of me. Mind you, it's thighs to butt. We standing that close. She goes into the bathroom. Mind you, the etiquette in this line is already poor. Like there was somebody that was behind us that had worked their way to our side and was trying to push their way in front of my wife. Shout out to my wife. She don't do that shit. She elbowed that man in the chest and went in the bathroom.
No, that's right.
But mind you, as soon as she went into the bathroom, 5 people. It's me in the door to the bathroom. 5 people just rush in front of me to get to the bathroom. Pissed me off so bad. I was ready to fight. So I just turned around and started walking away because I was like, I just got here. I can't get kicked out already. So as I'm turning to walk away, I just see a human drop and I hear a scream. And I'm like, oh, what the fuck going on? Like, bitch, they stabbing. Like, cause in the UK right now, it's a little stabby. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, oh my God, they stabbing out here. What's going on? I look, the girl passed out on the grass. They scream, oh my God, help. They helped the girl up. She stood up for a good 10 seconds. Boom, on the ground again. And so somebody comes over and he's telling everybody, get back. So I'm standing there because I'm like, oh my God, what if I need to help? And I gotta wait for my wife to get to the bathroom because I don't want to leave her behind because there's so many people out here. So she gets up for a third time. So they turn her, zoop, boom, face down, bitch, in the dirt. My wife come out the bathroom. I grab her wrist. I say, girl, let's go. Like, it's too much going on over here, right? So we go to go see Thundercat. He's halfway through his set. So we're like, fuck it. We really came to see this artist called Duran Bernard. If you don't know who Duran Bernard is, he's amazing, right? So his stage is a smaller stage that's to our left. We go over there, bitch, front and center. I don't know if you saw my wife's Instagram stories. If you didn't, I'm gonna get her to. I'm gonna send the video to you because, girl, when I say we were front and center up against the rail, he had a whole moment with my wife, like from the stage. Girl, it was so because there's a part in the song where he says, "I'm that bitch and I'm that nigga," and during the N word, my wife was singing along to the song, and when he said the N word, she said, and he was like, "I know that's right." So gave her the acknowledgement, that she was a white ally.
Yeah.
So I met this very, very, very lovely American woman. She had been living in London for the past 10 years. Shout out to you, girl, if you see the podcast. I thought about the podcast. She from Maryland. So I could hear it in her voice. I was like, when we were talking, I was like, girl, where you from? But she was like, DC. I was like, I knew it. I can hear people that's from the area. I'm going over my notes to make sure I'm getting everything. Okay. So fast forward, we go see Victoria Monet, amazing. And fast forward again, we see the headliner who is Kate Trinata, who was a electronic artist, right? Girl. Packed like sardines. We was towards the front for this one. Packed like sardines. The man behind me is getting on my motherfucking nerves. He just is all over the place. He doing a whole bunch of shit. And I'm wondering, like, what is wrong with him? He climbing on people's shoulders. People climbing on his shoulders. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with him, girl? So we in the middle. It was a lot of weed smoking. I don't know what the rules is in the UK, but it was a lot of weed smoking, bitch. I got a contact high and everything, girl. I was about to scale the side of the stage because me and weed don't mix.
Yeah.
I was about to scale the side of the stage. I thought I was one with the music. I thought I was about to float on the sound waves through the cloud, bitch. I was gone. Anyway. So I see in my peripheral vision, it's dark, but it's, lights from the stage. And I'm seeing him doing something with his fingers. I thought he was rolling up a joint. Mind you, I had been offered weed a couple times by this point already. Me and the girl was beside me at the Duran concert. We front row, security right there. She sparked up a blunt, offered it to me. I was like, no, baby, I'm not my ministry. So I see him doing something with his fingers and I'm like, oh, okay. I just see it in my peripheral. I ain't paying no attention, right? So I'm looking around, catching the vibes as we dancing and stuff. And I happen to look. Bitch, tell me why he took a bump of cocaine. I never seen cocaine in my life. Y'all see me. I don't be in them crowds. I don't do that type of thing. You know what I'm saying? I don't know nothing about that. I just see him with the little spoon looking, well thing. And he just dipping it. And he tried to get the girl in front of him to take something. And she's like, oh, no, I'm okay. He was like, well, when your favorite song comes on, I'm going to give you some. And she was like, no, thank you. No, thank you, white man. Mind you, it's all black people. This is the one white man in the crowd next to us. And he doing cocaine. Y'all girls got to get it together. Okay? I don't know. The blacks are smoking a little weed. This man was off the cocaine, lifting people up on his shoulders, hulking out. Mind you, at one point, right, he's pushing my wife. I see it out the peripheral because he's just doing a lot. So me being who I am naturally, that shit instantly made me mad because I'm like, don't be pushing my wife. Like, are you crazy? So I slide beside her, half of my body, and he's still like halfway bumping. So I took my shit from here and bought it here in the middle of his chest, right? So he stumbled back and he was like looking at me all crazy. So we go back to dancing, whatever. He pushed up again. Got him lower. He left us on. I don't know where he went after that. He literally disappeared. I don't know if he was like, let me get the fuck out of here or what, but he disappeared from there. But bitch, that was my first and last festival experience. We left, girl. It took us forever to get home. We had to walk 20 minutes because no transportation
Mm-mm.
within a
Yeah.
20-minute radius was running because they wanted everybody to walk down the street.
Yeah.
So the first place we got to where we could take public transportation, the buses weren't stopping. They were like, we don't care what y'all where y'all girls got to get. It's too much going on. They just whizzing by.
Mm-hmm.
We ended up trying to go to the underground. The goddamn organizers of the festival shut down the underground station. It's a sea of humans down the sidewalk where they barricaded it, trying to get into it, a mile long, literally. And they're letting in batches of people at a time. Girl, we ended up having to walk damn near 45 minutes before we could get transportation to take us home. Girl, we didn't get home till after 1 o'clock in the morning.
Mm.
Had to leave by a little after 9 the next morning to catch our flight.
Whew.
You talking about never again? Not
Know
none
what
for
you
me.
mean? It sounded like a fun time.
It's so many people. And I have, I didn't realize I got COVID trauma. Like I was in that crowd like no, like absolutely not. It's too mixy. It's too much. We should have got the VIP. We should have did it because the girl that I was talking to that was from the area, she was like, she had the VIP because she was like, that was all that was left by the time she got tickets. She was like, y'all, it is so calm back there.
I was about to
Like,
say, maybe you're a
that
VIP festival person.
And that's what I discovered. And that's what I discovered. Like, I need to just go to the VIP area and not come out until it's somebody I need to see.
Yeah.
And then go right back to the VIP area.
Yeah, right.
And that's what she did. And she was like, it's so nice right there. And I was like, girl, I could chop you in your throat right now. Okay. You know how jealous I am. Because we had been trying to figure out all morning because they had been advertising upgrade your tickets to VIP. We could not figure out how to do it.
Oh.
Whenever we went to the site, it was just not an option. There was no way to contact them. And by the time we got there, it was no use going to the box office and asking because we was already running late because we didn't expect so many people to be there.
Yeah.
So I ended up I missed the damn near the number one person I wanted to see because all the shit that happened. But yeah, girl, that's my first and last festival story. I had to share that with y'all because
I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't completely rule it out. Maybe, like maybe you just need the VIP experience. So don't completely rule it out of your life. Try the VIP experience, and then you can be like, yeah, no.
It was a miracle situation that I went in the first place, and that's only because 4 of my favorite artists were headlining.
Right.
Like at one place, I was like, I cannot miss this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So unless something like that happens again, where it's everybody I love in one place at one time, I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening for me. But yes, let's move on with the show.
Okay. We are going to move on to my next story. It is still from the Am I the Asshole thread. And this is entitled, Am I the Asshole for Keeping Score of Everything I've Ever Done for My Husband?
But please continue.
Okay. I am a woman in my late 50s, married to my husband, early 60s. We've been married for 30 odd years. I have fulfilled the role of a traditional wife for much of our marriage, and I left paid work soon into our marriage. My husband is very successful in his business, and we live comfortably. All our children are adults now. My husband built his business from the ground up, and I was instrumental to the early success, which set it up to be what it is today. We were having lunch with our children when my son mentioned that his wife didn't want to be a trad wife and do what I did to raise the kids. She raised concerns about how vulnerable a position it is and that she doesn't want to solely depend on him for money. He wanted me to talk to her and convince her by telling her how it worked out for me. I said I understood where she was coming from, and being a housewife is incredibly risky and vulnerable, especially if he leaves her and she's been out of the labor force for a while. He countered that it had worked out for his father and I because I trusted him as my husband to provide for me, and why couldn't his wife do the same? I told him I have a meticulous record of all contributions I have ever made to the family business, recently digitized with the help of my daughter, so that if we were worst ever happened, I wouldn't be relying on the mercy of a man to feed myself. I told him I have made my contingencies plans over the years to minimize the risk of being a housewife and compensate for my lack of pension and benefits I'd have had I not left the labor force. My son and husband were angered by this. Both said it showed a lack of trust, and my husband especially feels I've had one foot out the door our entire marriage, and that my little escape plan included plans to shaft him of his business. I told him the fact that he refers to it as his business rather than ours is exactly why I kept those records and why I won't be telling my daughter in law to do what she doesn't want to do. Am I the asshole?
Absolutely not, girl. You 10 out of 10, no notes. Honestly, you did. I mean, flawless execution. Flawless execution. The fact that you had the foresight to be like, you know what, in case this man ever try to play me, I need to have something documented for a court of law.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I'm getting, bitch, you be lucky if I don't walk out of here with 75%. You understand me? I want half of that business. I want my spousal support. I want it all. That our son is 46 years old, bitch. I want child support. Because you was at work and I was at the house. You owe me for all them years. Okay, because I know that what time you left and what time you came home. And these numbers indicate that there may be another child out there. And if there is, bitch, we're getting that as well. I want the ducats for pain and suffering
Mm-hmm.
behind your bastard child. Okay. And the fact that you're empowering your daughter-in-law to be an independent, you can be an independent married woman. I don't know why people act like that's not a thing.
Yeah.
You can absolutely be a independent bad hefter and be married. And for me, I grew up around a lot of strong black women. I did not grow up around submissive women at all. The women in my family is running shit. Okay, as much as and my family is majority men. And as much as we want to play big and bad, all our wives have to do is just drop an octave and we shivering and shaking. We shivering and shaking. Yes, man, whatever you need, baby. Like, you ain't even got the trip. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother, from the time they lived in Maryland for many, many years, where my grandmother worked as a nurse, right? And my father worked. When they moved to Virginia, my grandmother stopped working because my grandfather had his own business, right? So he took care of that. He took care of the family. So I've seen this firsthand. You know, I didn't go to any daycare. I didn't go to anything like that because I was at my grandmother and grandfather's house. You know, they helped raise me. Well, my mother worked and my father worked. So I've seen it firsthand how it can go. And yes, my grandma, had my grandfather's coffee ready for him to go out, to his shop and breakfast, lunch, dinner. She made all the meals, all the washing of the dishes with the help of us, all the doing of the laundry, had us vacuum in the house. She ran that house efficiently, but she was also the boss. At the end of the day, she ran things around there. My grandfather, he built their house by hand.
Yeah.
And I witnessed in my adolescence him put additions onto the home. He extended the whole house. He extended their kitchen, dining room, living room. He put walk-in closets onto the rooms on the back side of the house. And that was all at my grandmother's request. He built you've seen the little guest house out there. Built that by hand. When I was young, it was just a 4-wall building with screens. They called it the screen house. We still call it the screen house. He put on a whole kitchen at one time. And then later on, my grandfather was in his 70s and put on another parlor room for my grandmother just because she asked.
Yep.
And then once that was done, she said, Okay, well now this is a small house. I want something I can sit in and look outside again. So he built her another screen house for them to do that.
Yeah.
Like this is these are the type of men that I grew up around. So to hear him come at her like that is just it disgusts me.
Yeah. Agreed.
Honestly, truly, because I've seen the example of what it can be
Mm-hmm.
to be in a loving, mutual loving relationship with an ebb and a flow, and playing roles that are outside of that misogynistic view of how
Yeah.
men and women should operate inside of relationships. So I've never, based on the example that I had from my grandparents, I have never subscribed to that bullshit. My
Mm-hmm.
grandmother was very much like, you as a man need to know how to cook. You need to know how to wash dishes. You need to know how to sew. You need to, like, it was very, very important that men, women, boys, and girls all had the same skills and everybody contributed.
Yeah.
So when I hear stories like this, I'd be like, y'all, who raised y'all?
Yeah.
Somebody did y'all a disservice,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. And some people, I mean, girl, if you are just a naturally submissive person or a naturally dominant person and you find your other person that fits your piece, I'm not here to yuck y'all young.
Mm-mm.
But I'm just saying that there is another way.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know if it's your preference until you try it.
Yeah. I agree with
And I
you.
just appreciate this lady for taking the reins and taking ownership of her situation and making it work for her. Shout
Right.
out to you, girl.
And passing that along because I agree with you. For me, the idea of being a trad wife, bleh,
I'm sorry,
I
I don't mean to interrupt you, but what is a trad wife? I
like
don't
the
know what that means.
traditional wife. It's just the
Oh,
shortened
sorry.
term.
I don't be
Yeah.
on TikTok. I don't.
Yeah. I
Sorry, I'm
that's
old.
what they call that's what the kids call it nowadays.
Okay, I didn't know it. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
y'all.
I know it's very popular on TikTok for
Hmm.
people to showcase that side of a marriage. And I also know it's very popular for people to um, demonize that side of a marriage.
Hmm.
And as someone who would probably never participate in that kind of a marriage, I can see that, um, you know, I sometimes too like immediately want to push back on those values and because they're just not for me. But
Right.
that's it's okay if it is for you. But there is ways
Right.
to live, like you said, there's ways to live that life without completely making yourself vulnerable. There's nothing
Hmm.
wrong with having a backup plan, essentially, because at the end of the day, one of the things you're giving up is financial security because if your husband ever decides he doesn't want to be with you and he's the kind of person who is me, you know, leaving you, he's not he's it's not a guarantee that he's going to think of you as well as, I'm leaving you but I'm going to, make sure you're still taken care of type of situation. That's very rare. I'm not saying it can't happen. So when you leave the workforce and it's just you and your husband leaves you, what are you left with? What happens? And it's
Hmm.
true, the fact that he sits there and he says, oh, it's my business. Well, you wouldn't have been able to get where you are without me. you know if I wasn't there to help run the household and take care of the kids and take care of you, because let's be real, she was taking care of you like you were a child probably too.
I say it.
So it's just, it always makes me feel bad when it comes to these, that, and I think that's what the biggest pushback is because these people will look at what you're doing as less than what they're doing, not the fact that you probably get up around the same time or earlier than them and go to sleep later than them. You're working all
Right.
day. They don't see it as that. They just think, oh well, you're at home,
It,
so you
you ain't
have
doing
such a
shit.
lap of luxury.
Hmm.
And that's why for me it's such a big pushback. Like I could never, but for some people they don't want to be in the workforce. They want to be taken care of. They want to be home, and that's okay too. Just don't just know that you still have to look out for you, and
Right.
that's with any relationship. Even if you are the person on the you have to look out for you at the end of the day, because as much as we love people, as much as we know them, as much as we think we know them, we never really know a person.
Woo. Come,
I've
hey, come
I've
on,
had
Pastor.
friends who have been in relationship for years, decades even, and suddenly this person they've been with turns out to be a completely different person and their whole life gets appended. Like,
Come on.
so
You
always
better
just
preach to these people.
always have a backup plan. That's my
Come on. Have a backup plan.
Mhm.
Don't become. We have said this. We are 46 episodes in. And we have said this point so many times. Don't be dependent on somebody else. Get your own shit.
Yeah.
Okay? The majority, I've seen analytics, the majority of the people listening to this podcast, watching this podcast is women.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies, we talking to y'all. Take it from a man. Get your own shit. It don't matter what it, cause you don't know what can happen. Your man could go to work, bitch, and lose his left leg tomorrow. He out of work for a year and change, reconstructive surgery, bitch. He got to get a bionic leg. You need to have some way to support yourself and your family outside of that man.
Mm-hmm.
It is an extreme. Oh, it is so vulnerable, and I don't want to be like, don't live that type of lifestyle. But even if, girl, you baking cookies, you fixing watches, you sewing, you doing tailoring on the side of something to put a little something, selling pictures of your feet. Whatever you got to do, whatever you got to do to give yourself a safety net. And it's nothing that you have to hide from your partner. I think people hear that and sometimes they think that it's something they have to hide or be deceptive. And they're like, oh, I can't do that. What about the merits of my relationship? Nobody's saying that.
Mm-mm.
Let your partner know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing this. I'm putting something together. This is my savings. We have our joint accounts or whatever that we spend on, but this is mine.
Mm-hmm.
If anything comes up for the family where it's necessary, I will dig into it. But otherwise, this is my savings account. And if they have a problem with that, or they try to manipulate you into feeling guilty, consider that a red flag.
Red flag.
Consider that a red flag.
Red flag.
Something that you need to look deeper into and look for patterns.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're trying to manipulate you to keep you in a vulnerable situation.
Yeah.
And if that's the case and that's something that you determine, then you might need to start hiding it.
Yeah.
Then you need to make your roadmap for getting the hell up out of there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But that's the extreme case. I'm not trying to say that's the norm. That's the extreme case. What all I'm saying is have you something for you.
Yes. Agreed.
Hallelujah. Let's end it on that note.
Yes.
We didn't preach to the people. Yes, ma'am. Well, we want to thank you all for joining us for another episode of the Tea and Crystals podcast. If you like what you heard, make sure that you leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening. Make sure also to leave us a written review. Let me talk to y'all for a second. You know what, Crystal? You know what I think we need to do? I think in between these breaks, we need to insert commercials for people to leave us 5-star reviews.
Yeah,
I think that would be so beneficial to catch people off guard. Okay, to remind y'all of what the hell y'all need to do for the show. It's important. Okay, if you like what you saw, make sure that you like, comment, share, and subscribe. As always, thank you all for those of you who do that on YouTube. If you have any questions, comments, you would like to share your own story, or if you have any stories that you've seen on Reddit, TikTok, or something, we take videos, we take everything. Make sure you do so by sharing that at our email, tandcrystal@gmail.com. That's TEAANDCRYSTAL at gmail.com. Subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Facebook by searching Tea and Crystals Podcast. Follow us on TikTok at Tea and Crystals Podcast and on Instagram at Tea and Crystals Pod. Now, Crystal, is there anything else you want to say to the people before we get the hell up out of here?
We appreciate you guys so much, and we will see you next week.
See y'all next week. Bye, y'all. You muted yourself at the end. That is funny.